This is where I love talking about our players' romance and their
Oh,
love life and get the fluff out of you. And I play the violin and I get the rose petals throwing in the background because you just moved in with your girlfriend, Berta. Big move for a 22-year-old
he's
old.
he
Big
is so
move.
scared. He's so scared right now. I can promise you what you're
No,
gonna ask.
I'm not.
No, we have all these great athletes, and like every time I talk about their other halves, they just shiver. They don't really know what to do because it's like they don't really know where I'm going with it. And honestly, I don't know where I'm going with it.
No, nobody does.
Welcome to Fairway to Heaven. This is a LIV Golf podcast. It's your hosts, Sue and Heng and Jerry Foltz.
You call me Jelly Farts. I'm gonna like air slap you right now.
Jerry Farts.
Oh, Jerry.
I'll do the half, like not quite jelly farts, but I do Jerry farts. I feel like that's almost funnier than jelly farts.
Yeah, you should spend a week in the booth and see who's the actual gas passer in there.
Thank you so much for choosing us as your podcast. Appreciate you. And if you just tuned in, it's your first time, we do have our very own YouTube channel, Fairway to Heaven, as well as our very own social channels as well, FTH_LIV Golf. Do subscribe, do like us, and do follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and the X. There you go. What's up, Jerry? Where are you at?
I am in La Costa, famous resort down in Carlsbad, California, where they used to hold the Tournament of Champions on the PGA Tour and a number of other events through the years. I think this is where Tiger beat Tom Lehman in the World Match Play one time on a Monday morning finish.
Wow.
But anyway, I'm down here at La Costa. Women's NCAAs are going on right now. Karen is working them, so I am Cabana Boy, and it's not a bad place. It's not a bad place to be Cabana Boy for a week. It's really cool here.
It's a cold place to be a Cabana Boy.
It's cool. It's very cool. Yeah. No, I absolutely love it here. I love this area. This is like golfers' mecca when you come to Carlsbad, because all of the major manufacturers have their home bases here for the most part. And it's just gorgeous. It's just really, really cool and a nice way of life.
I've got good memories in Carlsbad. I really like it. I've been there a couple of times. It is a stunningly beautiful place.
It is.
Diego. Yeah.
Very much.
People give me shit for being such a California fan, but honestly, like, how do you not like California? I mean, you got the coast, you got the wineries, you got like great cities, you got Hollywood.
You got rampant taxes, you got earthquakes, you got homelessness, you got an extremely liberal way of life. Yeah, there's a lot not to like. And you got a gazillion people in a very small area. Other than that, it's perfect.
Well, you're just you're creating fans for yourself, Jerry.
No, they're all leaving. They're all coming to Florida.
All right, let's unpack the PGA Championship because, of course, we have to. What a fantastic week. First of all, congratulations to Xander Schauffele. What a performance. I didn't get to watch any of it live. I caught the highlights due to, obviously, time differences. But he obviously played some phenomenal golf and learned some lessons that he got from the week before, right? Playing up against Rory.
I just love how you say, what a fantastic week. Incredible. Congratulations, Xander. I didn't see the shit, but sounded like it was awesome.
Well, I watched the highlights. It was phenomenal. It was really good.
You're that audience. You're the YouTube audience, aren't you?
Well, look, when I don't live in the US and it's like 2 a.m. my time with a 3-year-old, I'm not going to get up and watch it. I'll just be honest. Like I have to like get my sleep so I can be a good mother. That's my priority. But I do what I can and I catch the highlights and it looked phenomenal.
It was totally
Thanks for giving me
cool.
shit though. Go fuck yourself.
Okay, all right. If I could, I would. Now, Xander was awesome. Absolutely awesome. to have the record of not closing in those moments as much as he's had, having knocked on the door so many times, to come through the way he did down the stretch was awesome. Obviously, we LIV people were rooting for Bryson the entire time, but it was a great event, and it was a good showing from our guys as well on every metric. I could go through them all. There's no need to, but yeah, it was an awesome week for Xander. It was a great week for Bryson. It was a great week more than anything for the golf fans. So much media since that last putt dropped on Sunday has been about how great it was to have everyone back together, and how Bryson is such a galvanizing figure in professional golf, and how the one aspect that I hated about some of that narrative was the article, I think it was Joel Beal who wrote it, that golf needs Bryson back. And golf hasn't lost Bryson. PGA Tour probably needs Bryson back, but golf has not lost Bryson. The two are not synonymous. The two are not synonymous. Yes, like
I know he shot 58 last year. Yeah. He hasn't gone anywhere.
Yeah.
But what a performance from Bryson. I mean, 64. What was it? Bogey free. And
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and you would think on a Sunday at the PGA Championship at Valhalla that if you shot 64 on a Sunday, that would get it done. But that just shows how good Xander played, and it was just so clutch. You know,
they've had 3 PGAs there and a Ryder Cup, and all have come down to thrilling finishes. I don't know what it is about that course. I don't know after what happened to Scottie Scheffler and a change of ownership at Valhalla if they'll ever get another one. But it's just always kind of legendary there. Always.
Yeah. I know the golf course played a lot softer than they wanted to. I think it was like maybe the one of the lowest scores, right, at the PGA.
Yeah, it was the lowest score in a men's major, 21 under. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, also congratulations to our guys who made the cut and did pretty well. I think we had something like 14% of our players made the cut.
No, 14% of the cut was our players. We had 68% of our players make the cuts. 68.75, 69. And there's no apples to apples comparison over that versus the competition, if you will. But 48% of the stat I love the most, because you can make stats say anything you want, and I love this one because it says what I want. 69% of our guys made the cut, and only 7.5% of the PGA Tour winners this season alone made the cut, and we didn't have a single winner of a LIV event who was in the field miss the cut. So,
wow, that's awesome. Some big names that did miss the cut: Rahm, Adrian Meronk, Phil. Our next guests unfortunately missed the cut. Who else? Tiger missed the cut. A few like big names too, right? On the PGA side that missed a cut as well.
Rahm's really unhappy, and it's not cultivating good play. He's unhappy with LIV. He wants to go back to the PGA Tour, and he's got no chance of playing good in the majors till he does, and he made a huge mistake. Kiss my ass. Kiss my chair. Just ask him. Ask him. He'll give you an honest answer. I promise you he will. And oh, wait. The other stat I love, because it says what I like to hear, is that our guys can't play 72 holes anymore. That was the Wyndham Clark line, who's now played 72 holes in majors, by the way. It just took 2 majors to get there. Was that our guys can't play 72 holes. 6 of our 11 guys who made the cut shot their lowest round of the week on Sunday. So, again, KMA.
Yeah. I know. Oh, KMA. I like
KMA.
That. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, our next guest, I'm very excited for our second youngest player on the league. He is on Team Fireballs this year. Super talented David Puig. What's up, David?
How are you guys?
We're doing good. Thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah,
of course. It's a pleasure.
Are you?
Hey, go ahead.
Are you back in Arizona?
Yeah, got back yesterday.
Are you still in your apartment from college?
No, not anymore.
You moved out. Okay.
Yeah, I moved out like a couple weeks ago. So,
you buy a place?
Not yet. I rented, or me and my girlfriend rented, just because I don't know if she's gonna like it or not. I mean, she likes it obviously, but she's never lived in Arizona before, so. But it's looking that we're gonna buy something pretty soon.
It's Scottsdale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Where do you play at?
I play at Silverleaf and Whisper Rock.
That doesn't suck.
No, it doesn't
No,
suck.
it doesn't suck.
It's good, yeah.
Well, you practice a whole bunch with Rahm, and you guys have a very, very great. You have a great relationship, and we caught a glimpse of that, I think, in Australia when we got to sit down with you guys at the Players Lounge and had a conversation for an hour, and you guys were going back and forth with the banter. Talk to us about that relationship.
No, yeah, it's good. We're good friends. I obviously knew him since pretty much I started playing golf, right? Like I heard his name a bunch, and he's been one of the best ever to compete in Spain, and now he's one of the best in the world, right? So, but I think our relationship started a little more when I left ASU, and just because I started playing up north a little bit more here in Scottsdale, so we became good friends. Obviously, both being from Spain and ASU and sharing coaches, and Alberto, my caddy, you know, which is obviously a good friend of Jon. So yeah, we just became pretty close, and we practice. I think we practice a bunch together, which is great, especially for me. You know, just seeing what he does, and yeah, I mean, looking forward to keep, you know, practicing and playing alongside him for a very long time.
You were I guess we could say a late add to the field at the PGA Championship. How much time did you have? Did you know ahead of time that you were going to Kentucky?
Yeah, I found out the Monday before the event, so pretty much a week before. I knew I had like a 50-50 chance of getting in, just because my world rankings and what I heard, you know. But yeah, I mean, a week, so not a lot of time, but I mean, it was, you know, it was good enough to organize everything.
Going back to ASU and the conversation we had at the Players Lounge, it was really funny that apparently there's kind of a bit of a shrine for Jon Rahm at the ASU. I think it was the dorm. Apparently he left his golf bag there, and a few of the kids that have come through that dorm had opened up the closet, and it was like, holy shit, it's Jon Rahm's golf bag. And now it's become some kind of a shrine. Now, is that a true story, David?
I think it is, yeah. Alberto, I think Alberto told me that story few months ago, but I don't know how real it is, but I know that he left one of his old bags in the dorms, obviously with his name, and the people that went to the dorm after they left, they found the bag, and it was probably pretty surprising that, you know, whoever was sleeping in or staying in Jon's room, you know, he knew that he was, you know, staying at the same room, and I don't know if bed, probably not the same bed, but the same room as Jon Rahm.
Hey, I want to go back to last week, if you don't mind. I know you didn't play your best, and that's part of life. That's part of professional golf. You played in 2 majors now, and you did pretty decently in last year's U.S. Open, and you didn't have your best this last week. But I want to go back to the surreal day that was Friday. That, I mean, literally made international headlines at the blink of a moment. Where were you when you heard about what happened to Scheffler, and what was your immediate reaction, and how big of a shit show was it to get into the course that day?
No, yeah, it was unbelievable. I was actually the first off that day, so my
Holy Christ.
So my tee time was supposed to be at 7:20. So I mean, woke up at 4:30 in the morning, which is not pretty typical in LIV. You know, we usually sleep late. And yeah, I mean, 4:30 wake up call, and yeah, just head to the course. In my case, I didn't have that much trouble. I think that accident that happened
was after you got there, right?
No, I think it was just before. But somehow we were staying kind of close, so we got we got in the course through a different route. But yeah, I mean, I was, did my warm up, everything, and then it's when the Scheffler news kind of appeared, and I was actually at the dining room when I saw that, and actually Jon was the one that showed me because he was playing early too, so he was the one that showed me the video or the images about Scheffler getting arrested, and I'm like, there's no way, that's gotta be someone that put his face there or something, but no, it was real, which was unbelievable to see. Because I mean, all the players, I mean, there was only one entrance, right, to Valhalla, through that road. So I mean, we all did the same, but I guess he got unlucky, or he did something that he wasn't supposed to do, or the police guys intercepted in a different way. I don't really know what happened, but it was unlucky for sure.
It had to be surreal, though. I mean, as the rumor started spreading around, people had to look at each other like, this can't, like you reacted, this can't possibly fucking be true. There's no way a cop is going to arrest Scottie Scheffler.
I know, yeah. When we saw the images again, like, I thought it was some sort of a joke, right? Like,
yeah.
Because he's playing so good that I'm like, well, maybe just put this because, it's the only option he has of not winning the tournament, but it was real, which was crazy. And what was even crazier was that, he showed up for his tee time and ended up shooting 5 under par in the rain, which was actually pretty
That was nuts. Yeah.
I mean, I remember because of the time difference, I'm in Singapore, David, and I had to literally, I think I had to check my phone about 10 times to just make sure this wasn't like a prank.
Yeah.
I was like, did it really happen? And then I saw images of Scottie in his orange overalls, and I'm like, holy crap. And then he goes out there and shoots 66. And then the day after that, he didn't play as well, but he didn't have Ted Scott on the bag.
I know.
Yeah, because Ted Scott left and came back and for his daughter's graduation. But it was such a surreal thing. I just couldn't believe. But also our hearts go out to
John Mills.
John Mills and his loss of him
his family.
and his
for sure.
Yeah. Now let's take you back to, last year when you played some amazing golf. I know you didn't quite have a great start to the season. I know I watched a thing on your social media talking about how you had to get into top 36 to secure basically your spot on LIV. And I think this was DC, where you had to really pull something together to get yourself in that top 36. How much pressure were you under? But it seems like you thrive under it as well. Because like in Greenbrier, you played really good too under pressure.
No, yeah, it was, it was something obviously a little weird. My deal was to play the first 7 events, and if I was, inside that top 36 after 7 events, I could play the following 7, and didn't start very good. And yeah, I mean, got to DC, which was tournament number 7, and I was just a little outside of that 36, and actually had a pretty good first round, but played bad on the second round. So I thought the chances were kind of over. I was still somehow pulling for, like, my Turkey teammates to even though if I wasn't gonna accomplish that, maybe they would still keep me on the team, right? But anyways, that last round was pretty crazy, yeah, because I didn't start very good the first couple holes, right? I hit a couple bad shots on the first 2 holes, but after that I just found something and ended the round very good, and it actually brought me to that 12th place finish, which was the enough points I needed to finish inside the top 36. Because if I would have finished 13th, I would have been outside of the top 36, which was because I was
No way.
I was like tied 12, but because I had the best round, I got the points of the 12th place, you know, which was the amount I needed to keep me on LIV, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know it was that close. I knew it was
Yeah.
close, but I didn't know it was that close.
And that was the old rules. The tiebreaker actually broke they awarded points with tiebreakers. They're not doing that this year. They're sharing the points. But that's pretty cool. Now, that brings up one hugely important question. You didn't sign for $13.5 gazillion, like reported everybody else has. Why? And you sacrificed, as you know, you willingly sacrificed the traditional pathway of professional golf to get to the PGA Tour and to get into majors. Why did you choose LIV? You were the first college kid to do so. Why did you do it?
No, yeah, it was pretty simple for me. I thought I had a pretty good amateur career, and I just never had as many opportunities as other guys to play against the pros when I was an amateur, right? And then LIV started, and they offered me that pathway just to compete against the best players in the world. So for me, it wasn't that much about the money or choosing one tour or the other one. It was more about competing against the best and just learning that experience. And if I would have followed the other route, like maybe I would be somewhere in, today, but I knew I had to start competing against maybe not the best players in the world, obviously against very good players, but maybe not the best in the world. So I just did it for that experience, for myself, just to know how good or bad or if I was good enough or not, just to compete against these guys. And I mean, I'm glad I made that decision, because it just showed me obviously how good these guys are, but as well that I have a chance to compete against them.
In terms of the experience of joining LIV and then getting into Torquay and playing, with Joaquin and all your other teammates on Torquay last time, how much of an impact was that on your career, being able to have those teammates around you versus perhaps, like Jerry said, the traditional way of going through, maybe Q School, the PGA Tour, where it's very much a lonelier environment, I guess.
No, yeah, it was great to have the Torquay team with me. It was a kind of similar vibe as what we have in college. So leaving college and kind of leaving my teammates a little bit, obviously, but finding 3 other teammates alongside myself, it was I felt pretty good. I felt I was supposed to be there, and I felt great. And they obviously are good friends, and they took good care of me, and I learned a lot with them, and I hope they just learn a little bit more with having myself there as well.
I'm sure they have. Now I got to ask you, you're saying Torca. Is that a dialect difference between you and Waco? Because Waco is mandating we call it Torque, and you're saying Torca. Are you that Americanized now?
Torque, yeah. I say Torque. Maybe they say Torque. I don't know. Maybe just the Spanish is a little different than the Chilean Spanish, whatever they speak, right? But
yeah,
Torque.
But
I say Torque.
You're no longer a member of Torque. You are now Fireballs with Sergio. You were part of the first ever trade in professional golf history, as it turns out, to the best of my knowledge, certainly LIV history. How did that trade come down? How did you find out about it? Were you happy about it? Or was it a tough pill for you to swallow, or did you have input?
No, I mean, I expected it a little bit, just because obviously Carlos Ortiz is very close with the Torque guys. I know they travel a lot when they were playing on tour before, and traveling together and sharing coaches and stuff, right? So that, I think the trade made sense. And obviously for me, just going to Sergio's team was, pretty much a dream come true. Because when I grew up, obviously Jon was still a little young, right? And I never had the chance of kind of seeing Sevi and Chema Olazabal. So Sergio was the, kind of the Spanish hero in Spain, when I was young. So seeing him winning the Masters and everything he accomplished, just joining his team was surreal. And obviously it was a very exciting moment.
Now, I was kind of scrolling through and trying to research and trying to find out a little bit more about you.
This is where the bullshit questions happen, David.
On the ASU website, they have this like whole questionnaire, I think when you first joined ASU. So this was, I don't know probably like 5 years ago. It says, if you just won a lottery, what would be your very first purchase? And it says a TrackMan. I feel like you've come very far since. I'm pretty sure you have a TrackMan and then some. When you look back at, which is obviously not that far back, but when you signed with ASU to where you are now, what have you learned about yourself and how much have you grown since?
No, yeah, I mean, thankfully, yeah, I own a Foresight now, which is good. No, but yeah, I mean, I think I learned a lot, right? Me being from Spain, and I played a lot, around Europe, and I was at the US maybe like a couple times because of tournaments, but I mean, I was based and grew up in Spain, so just making that move to the States was big, and just leaving my parents and family back in Spain was a pretty hard and different move, and that maybe what I was or what I had in mind. But I mean, I'm super glad I made that decision, and ASU taught me a lot. The coaches and all my teammates were great, and I learned a lot through that, and obviously a new language pretty much. And since I become professional, I mean, just more and more, I think I keep learning every day, right? I mean, I've probably visited Asia maybe like a couple times for tournaments before I was professional, and now, I mean, I've been pretty much to every country in Asia, and it's obviously a little shocking, like culturally shocking, wherever we go, but it's just great to visit those places and play there, as well as pretty much the rest of the world. So it's been great, and I feel I just keep learning and learning every day.
Well, you've had some obviously great success here in Asia, so you must love Asia, especially Singapore, right?
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of Asia and your first, your professional win, what was it like winning your very first professional tournament?
No, yeah, it felt amazing. I came up close like 3 or 4 times before that, but I just couldn't get it done, and just going to Singapore and having those first 3 rounds, the first 3 rounds I had, and just leading the tournament by that margin was, it felt great.
Nine shot lead going into the final round in Singapore.
No, yeah, it felt amazing. Obviously, the last round I played a little more conservative, but I think I played pretty good as well. And yeah, I mean, Singapore is a great place. I like it. It's a little hot for me, but besides that, I like it. I think it's just a cool place to visit and to be, right. So it was very cool.
You're going to be able to write a worldwide travel guide for people, because starting in Mayakoba, I read the Doug Ferguson article. I think it was 10 events in 10 different countries, including the win in Singapore on the International Series, including a win on the Asian Tour, and a playoff loss in the International Series in Macau. 10 different countries, 10 weeks without returning home. That's a young man's kind of adventure right there. But you're playing some really important golf in pursuit of world golf ranking points, and trying to play within the system as it's set right now. How taxing was that? How do you perform at your highest level when you're doing all that?
No, yeah, I mean, I definitely have a lot of miles on those, on those airlines. I'm I should be on top of every airline pretty much right now after all
Yeah.
the travel. But no, but yeah, it was good. It was 7 weeks in a row, and then I think I took maybe like a week off and played a little more. But it was, I mean, it was crazy, honestly, because I mean, there's obviously people that play 7 weeks in a row, but somewhat close, But in my case, we went from Mexico to Vegas to Malaysia to Oman, and then I think it was Saudi and Hong Kong and then Macau. So it was, I mean, I pretty much went around the world. So yeah, it was very tired for sure after I finished, but yeah, it paid off. I mean, I had two decent results on LIV in a row, and obviously I played pretty good on the Asian Tour, which allowed me to to go to or to get in the PGA, which was great. So yeah, I think I made the right decision, but it was for sure very exhausting.
Speaking of that decision, to play 7 weeks in a row and play more golf outside of the LIV schedule, was that your own decision, or were there people around you that were encouraging you to do it, or people that you talked to for advice that encouraged you to do that?
Not really. It was my own decision. Obviously, I talked to the team, and they usually support me. If I feel good, they support whatever I want to do. But in my case, was more about keep learning that experience, as well as I wasn't gonna miss Malaysia just because they had that open spot, and obviously it paid off, and then the rest of the tournaments were, I mean, I wanted to, I want to play the majors and I want to play all these big events, right? So I think I needed to play those if I wanted to qualify for the majors and hopefully the Olympics. So it was pretty much that. I mean, that was the target, pretty much, just to play those and play good.
Going into the PGA, you had the second spot for Spain in the rankings for the Olympics. Have you taken a peek at where you are now? Are you still there?
I think I'm still second. I have a couple of Spaniards super close, but I think it's gonna be between the four of us, maybe five. I know John is he's obviously in, but for the second spot, I think it's gonna be three or four of us that are gonna battle it in this next month. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. I don't have as many opportunities as they do, but hopefully if I can make it to the US Open and have a good week there, that's the last event that counts towards the Olympics. So that's my only chance. They have more chances, but yeah, hopefully I'm in Paris with John. That would be cool.
I don't know if your play abroad has taken any kind of toll on you. It would if you were older, I can promise you it would. I don't know if it has on you, but your play in Asia has been outstanding. You haven't finished worse than 15th in all of those other events you've played. You've had two 15th place finishes in LIV in Vegas and in Jeddah. But as Sue-Ann mentioned, it hasn't been your best start. What has been the difference in your play on those events, versus in the 7 LIV events you've played?
Yeah, I don't really know. Everybody asked me the same question, which I kind of ended up asking it myself as well, right? And I don't find any differences. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like I think it just happened because it happened. I think the level of my game is the same in both tours. Maybe my short game was a little better on the Asian Tour, and those maybe one or two putts per round that kind of give you that momentum to score a little better. But I mean, I think I've been playing pretty good on LIV. I just didn't score the way I was supposed to do it, and same thing happened on the PGA as well a little bit. So it's obviously frustrating. I'm working on it, but I'm pretty positive. I think I'm playing good golf, and the results are gonna come because the rest of the game is there. It's just I just gotta kind of put it all together to to start playing better or scoring better.
We've had multiple guests on our podcast till date, and everyone says how difficult it is to get into the top 24. Now, is that something you think about a lot? Does that put additional pressure on you? Did you feel like maybe that's why you haven't performed as well on LIV as you want to?
Yes and no. I mean, I'm obviously, you know, looking to my objectives throughout the year, and my targets and you know, and where I want to finish and what I want to do. And I think that's part of the process, just to, you know, just to maybe pick 3 or 4 goals and kind of try to, you know, just to prove them and just complete them, right? And but at the end of the day, for me, it's just more just trying to score the best way I can in every single hole and event, obviously, right? So maybe it is up there, especially if you're not playing that good, you know. You always kind of have in mind just to at least get to that 24th place where you can somehow get points. But I mean, believe it or not, at the end of the day, like I play golf because I want to win. So I'm focusing more on that first place rather than the 24th, because that's what I want to do. And also, for me, like the spots where I finish, it doesn't matter that much. Like I'm always gonna try to finish 33rd instead of 34th, and I'm always gonna try to finish 21st and 22nd or 8th and 9th, right? So I never give up. That's something I like to do. I complain a lot, and I, you know, throw clubs, and I, you know, talk shit all the time, but I never give up, because this is, you know, just who I am. And yeah, that's my mentality.
Yeah, that's a great attitude to have, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I'm changing the subject here. Kind of a random question. I'm out in Carlsbad right now, where the NCAA women's are going on right now. The men's start obviously as soon as this is done. Because the woman I call my wife is actually working for the Golf Channel, Karen. And I've been asked so many times since I got here from people inside the golf industry about AK, about Anthony Kim. Now it struck me as you have a perspective that I'll never have, because I knew Anthony Kim when he was on top of the world. You were 9 years old when Anthony Kim walked away from the game. Were you aware of the legend that was the mythical legend that was Anthony Kim, and have you had a whole lot of dealings with him in your impressions thus far?
Yeah, a little bit. What I remember, and it's pretty tough, and Sergio doesn't like it, right? But it's the first thought that comes to my mind every time someone speaks about Anthony Kim, is when he beat Sergio at the Ryder Cup, and he forgot that he won, and was walking to the next hole. And you know, sometimes I give shit to Sergio because of that. Obviously, it's always a joke, right? But he gets, you know, somewhat pissed because of that. But it's the first. I don't know why. It's just the first thought that always comes to mind, right? But yeah, obviously, I know who he was. I know how good he was, and also, you know, they released that video of him just talking through, you know, throughout his life after that, and I'm just a little more aware of, you know, of what he went through and everything he accomplished. So it's for sure good to have him back, and just, you know, talking to him, and just, you know, seeing him at the golf course again, and just, you know, trying to play the best he can.
Yeah, by the way, you're the same age as Jerry's son, I believe.
No,
maybe just
my
just a couple
son's
of years younger.
27. My son is 27, and he's almost Rahm's age, for crying out loud. Rahm's 29.
Hey, speaking of Sergio, I want to.
Oh, by the way,
about
Sue-Ann, by the way,
what?
fuck off.
Let's talk about Sergio, because as you've already alluded to how big of an influence he is and he was in your career as a junior golfer and amateur career. What's it been like being on Fireballs? having him as your captain, being around the other guys as well? What's the team dynamic like, and are you enjoying it?
No, yeah, I'm loving it. I think we're always, we always have jokes and we're always laughing, which I think it's the most important part, especially in those, practice days and after the tournament rounds. I think it's important to have like a good group or, good team to hang out and kind of get distracted a little bit of the golf part. And it's been very good. It's been great. Sergio, Abe, and Chikara, they're nice people, right? So we get along together very good, and we actually also stayed together maybe 3 or 4 times throughout the year. We shared maybe 2 or 3 houses throughout these events where we, kind of created that good team and good group, and we have a lot of fun every week we play, and yeah, I mean, as well, learning from especially Sergio and Abe that, they're a little older and they went throughout the whole process, just kind of seeing them, what they do and how they practice and how they prepare is good to see and good to have.
Well, you share houses and you also have a private chef, I've heard. So you're
Yeah.
living the life. You're living the life, David.
We are. Yeah.
And occasionally you're not flying Southwest either.
Sometimes it's good to have those. It's good to have those 2 free check bags, that you can actually
Talk about Sergio a little bit, because again, I get asked a lot of questions. My generation, from the generation of traditionalists out there, especially here at NCAA's this week. I was hanging out watching the final round with some of those who are behind the College Golf Foundation, a newly formed committee to try and really grow the college golf. But many of the comments I hear about Sergio is like, and this is, I'm just being brutally honest. I really wasn't a fan of Sergio until I watched him on LIV. It's like he's having so much more fun now. And I try to explain to them, I think you're now seeing the real Sergio, the guy that he really is, whereas before he was always under the microscope. And unfortunately, in the traditional golf landscape, you really weren't able to get to know the players the way we're able to introduce you guys to the audience. Tell us a little bit about Sergio off the course and what you admire about him and maybe some of the other shit you give him.
No, I mean, he's a good guy. We have fun. We usually play cards, off the course, something that we enjoy, and there's always trash talking there, and which is great. And yeah, I mean, not much. We, pretty much our life, right, is around the golf course. But when we're out of it, I think we have a lot of topics to discuss. There's always, soccer, football, however you say it, in between, because, he supports Real Madrid and I'm totally the opposite, which kind of sucks right now because they're having
Barcelona, right?
Yeah, they're having a good time and we suck. But there's always, those topics that we enjoy talking, and on the course is really spectacular how good he is, because it's amazing. Like sometimes he doesn't even, hit balls because, he doesn't need it or he doesn't want to, and shows up to the first tee without even stretching and just, sends it down the middle, which is unbelievable. And then like myself, sometimes where you've been grinding for a couple hours and get to the first tee and hitting the shit. So it, it kind of sucks sometimes, but it's just good to, learn from him and just see how good of an athlete he is.
Well, you're surrounded by some impressive players. I mean, you hang around Jon Rahm, you're practicing with him. You got Sergio Garcia as your captain. You're playing alongside Brooks. You're playing alongside DJ, and the list goes on. Through your experience on LIV so far, what's the best advice you've gotten from any player? It could be Sergio, it could be Rahm. What's the best
question?
advice?
Good fucking question. I like that. Yay.
Coffee's kicking in. Coffee's kicking in.
Yeah. The one I'm trying to improve the most is just that complaining stuff, right? Sometimes I get that pissed that I don't even enjoy playing for like a couple seconds. I don't know if I keep telling myself that it doesn't affect on my game, but sometimes I really get, you know, very frustrated where other players do, right? But somehow they found a way to either not show it to the public or just, you know, kind of forget about it really quick. And I do forget about it really quick, but I just get pissed a lot of times, you know, which kind of shows the people that I'm, you know, pretty pissed all the time, and I'm not, but I just show too many emotions sometimes, especially a negative one. So that's the part I'm trying to keep, you know, keep better at, because it's obviously important for my own image as well, for my, you know, own scores.
Have you played with Hatton yet?
Yes. But we're up there. We're up there. It's unbelievable because it's actually funny to see, you know, because then I see him and I see myself and I tell myself like, hey, you're not that bad.
But to be fair, a guy that you're very close to, John's also very expressive on the golf course.
Extremely hard on himself. Extremely hard on himself.
Have you asked him any advice on that front? And has he given you any advice on that front? Because I mean, it seems to almost work to his advantage, right? When he lets it out, and then he kind of is able to then really just channel the anger into a good place. And it takes, I guess, some kind of mental strength, a skill to be able to convert, you know, the negative thoughts into something positive. I mean, have you asked him perhaps how to improve on those things that you're trying to improve on?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, right? I mean, I talked to him and I talked to Serge as well, and at the end of the day, it's finding what works for you. And obviously, what I do, I think it works pretty good most of the time. It's just more about kind of showing, you know, my caddy and the team and the rest of the people that just do not complain as much. And then I see myself on TV, and sometimes I think like, hey man, I mean, what are you doing? But I mean, it's, you know, it's weird to ask John sometimes, or Sergio, because they get pretty pissed on TV. Like I see some guys on PGA, John Tomahawk one, like on that 16th hole, like two-hand tomahawk, right? And like I see that, and I mean, I actually love just seeing that because I think the same way, you know, like if I could do it, I would probably do it as well. But it's something it's not cool to actually do it, you know, especially when you see it, just because it's, you know, I think it's disrespectful in a way to the other players and to the golf course. So that's what I'm, you know, trying to accomplish to get better. But one thing that John does that I think it's great is when you know, he misses a shot or a putt or something doesn't go his way, he tells to himself that it wasn't his fault. You know, he always, it's not an excuse, but he always finds something that maybe disturbed him in a way, right? Where there's this story, we're playing this practice round together in LACC last year for the US Open. It's a practice round, and me and Alberto brought this friend, because we stayed at his house for sectionals at the US Open, right? So we brought these guys like 70 years old, like he's with his phone, you know, he probably never watched golf in his life. Like he knows the players, but he inside the ropes in a US Open, right? And I'm playing with John and Phil and someone else. And he's with the phone and like, you know, like making noise and everything. And John misses this driver and, you know, hits it in the shit, and he turns around and like blames it on our friend. And he wasn't doing anything wrong, you know, like there was enough noise to not listen to him, but somehow he, you know, he found him and like, you know, tell him like, hey man, just shut up or something. And then he goes to the next hole and just stripes the next driver, like that driver on the pass like never happened, right? Which then same putt and same with everything else, which is which is good because, you know, that doesn't interfere in his game.
Back when I was trying to play and looking for the elixir in any secret, I did do a lot of work toward what was an emerging science at the time, the sports psychologist, the mental health. And went to a seminar with this one guy, and he said, almost every great player in the game shares this one attribute. They don't take blame. They only take credit. They only remember the good. They don't remember the bad. Lee Trevino, there's a guy named Lee Trevino you might have heard of. You're a little young for it, but yeah, Lee Trevino never hit a bad shot in his life. His thumb slipped, or Herman gave him the wrong club, or the foot, or something screwed up happened. And I see a lot of that in Jon Rahm, and it's such a hard thing to do because golf will make you beat yourself up. But to take the responsibility away from yourself, I think is a huge asset.
No, for sure. Even like I remember seeing this interview about Tiger when you know, he was obviously, or he's always been a very good putter, and one day he didn't make anything, and this guy asked him like, hey, what happened to your putting, or why are you putting so bad, or, you know, stuff like that. And he responded something like I hit every putt the way I wanted. It's just they didn't go in, so that they're gonna get in eventually. But I hit every putt the best way I could. And I mean, you see his, you know, he's putting that day and it sucked. But he told himself that whatever he did, it was great, you know. So yeah, I mean, I tell those things to myself as well, but maybe not in the same level as they do. So it's probably a pretty important thing to maybe get better at.
Well, someone who is very influential to your life and even to your game is your caddy, Alberto Sanchez, who, by the way, is a bloody good player himself.
He's played in as many majors as I have.
One.
Yeah, well, actually, I played in the U.S. Amateur. When I played in it, that was still considered a major back then.
Well, he was one of the best players on ASU, and now he's on your bag. He obviously was a teammate of Jon Rahm. He actually was on Tim Mickelson's team at the time. Talk us through kind of your relationship with Alberto. How did you guys become a pair, and sort of his influence on your game and kind of your career so far?
No, yeah, I mean, we met through ASU. Obviously, we were there in different years, so we never played together. But he kept the connection around and kind of hang out with the team sometimes that, you know, we needed to go somewhere or we needed an extra guy to play. And yeah, obviously the language helped a lot because he's you know, he speaks Spanish, and when I got to ASU, just kind of having someone that speaks your own language was good. So I mean, through that we kind of became close, and when I turned professional, I used to have one of my best friends just caddying for me, but in a way it didn't work out the way maybe we thought it would. So I mean, me and Alberto kind of got together, and we thought that it was a good idea for both of us just to start this journey. And yeah, I mean, it's been good because, I mean, obviously he never caddied before, but he was a very good player, so he knows what he's doing, and he's learning super fast about all the stuff, you know, he needs to do prior to the tournament and during the tournament. So, and I think we have a pretty similar game in a way. So we kind of see a lot of the things pretty similar. So it's been good having him on the course and obviously off the course as well, especially when we go to these countries that we're not kind of used to it, and just having each other there, it's been good.
Similar games, but somewhat different personalities you and Alberto have. If a stranger were to watch you guys in a public setting, those who know you know your personality and know how funny you can be and how much fun you can be. Alberto lets the whole world know that. He's very outgoing and very, very more extroverted than you are. Is that a good match when you're out there competing?
Sometimes it is. Sometimes I tell him to shut up because, we actually need to focus a little bit because, you know, I mean, he's such a nice guy, right? That he has too many friends sometimes. I tell him like, hey man, you have too many friends. You know, you talk too much to everybody. You just gotta, you know, talk a little less to everybody, or we're never gonna, you know, or we're never gonna play. But yeah, just, you know, just having him, especially off the course, it's great. We're good friends, and just, you know, sharing all these journeys and trips. It's been good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he speaks. I remember when you won in Singapore, and I kind of was talking to him while you were doing press conference, and he just spoke so highly of you, and he admires you and thinks just the world of you, and he thinks that you're just going to be. You already are an amazing player, but you're just going to continue, and your journey as a professional golfer is just keeps going up and up and up and up. And you're what, 23?
22.
22. 22. Oh my God.
This age thing, I think it's starting to become an excuse for me, though. I mean, I was 20 and 21 and 22, and like, you know, people kind of keep saying like, hey, you're too young, but I just don't feel young anymore. You know, I just feel like an average player pretty much, right? So I really want to like start accomplishing things, you know, soon, rather than, you know, wait until I'm like 30 or 35, right? But yeah, I'm obviously young, and I still have a lot of, hopefully, you know, a lot of more years of competing and learning and hopefully winning.
Well, if you're feeling old, can you imagine how Jerry feels on a daily
fuck.
basis?
I'm 3 times his age almost. I've looked up your earnings since you turned pro. You're doing all right for a 22-year-old. Just so you know, there's a lot of kids who graduate ASU who won't make that in their lifetime.
No, yeah, I agree. I don't complain about that.
Yeah, no.
I like doing this because this is Jerry's favorite segment. I call it Fairway to
is
Love.
You can go ahead and just turn off your computer right now.
This
is painful.
This is where I love talking about our players' romance and their love life, and get the fluff out of you. And I play the violin, and I get the rose petals throwing in the background, because as you mentioned at the top of the show, that you just moved in with your girlfriend, Berta. Big move. Puig, big move for a 22-year-old.
He is so scared. He's so scared right now, I can promise you what you're going to ask.
I'm not.
No, we have all these great athletes, and like every time I talk about their other halves, they just shiver. They don't really know what to do, because it's like they don't really know where I'm going with it. And honestly, I don't know where I'm going with it.
No, nobody does.
Yeah, but you've been with Berta. I saw you guys' really cute post. I think it's been 5 years you've been together, right?
Wow.
It's almost 6, yeah, which is crazy.
Wow.
Wow. Wait, so 6 years ago, you were 16.
Good man.
16.
Where did you meet?
So we, you know, she plays golf as well, and we kind of met when we were actually super young, you know, throughout the state tournaments, whatever. But it got pretty serious when we went to high school. We went to the same high school, and we kind of started dating during that time. And yeah, when we were 16, and obviously we both went to college, just 2 different colleges. So we went through the long distance for pretty much 4 or 5 years, and we're both done, and we finally moved together, which obviously, if you look at it, and you know, we're 22, but I feel that, you know, we're ready for this step for sure.
Wow, congratulations. That is awesome. That is
What's the next step?
I don't know. Just Houston is the next tournament we're playing. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
By the way, Berta, she's gorgeous, and she's been so supportive of you. I know she's been out to a few events already. I got to meet her, and she hangs around Joaquin's wife, and they have a really nice little what do they call it? Girlfriends and wives, right? Like
Wag,
golfers and
wags.
wags.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she's really been very supportive of your career. How much has that helped you, especially when you're on the road so much?
No, yeah, she's always been very supportive, no matter what, for sure. Just, you know, she plays golf as well, so she obviously understands the game very good. And I can always talk to her about pretty much everything related to golf, and obviously related to every aspect, right? So it's been great to have her by my side. She always takes very good care of me. And yeah, I mean, it's just it's amazing to maybe and hopefully start traveling with her a little more, and just kind of having her by my side throughout this year, and hopefully a lot more.
Where
Did
did she
she
go to
ever?
school?
Yeah, where'd she go?
So she started in Jacksonville State, which is in Alabama, for a couple of years. Played very good, actually played very good golf, and then she transferred to Kent State in Ohio for the next 2 years. And yeah, she graduated like a week and a half ago. So
Well, you guys did some serious long distance then.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. I was just gonna ask, how did you guys like manage that? Because obviously she played, so she was on a schedule herself. You played a whole bunch. You're on a schedule
FaceTime.
yourself.
FaceTime. That's the
oh
generation.
yeah,
But you still have to meet. I mean, you have to meet up. So how did you guys work
oh
that
yeah,
out?
I think we just kind of we saw each other maybe like once a month. You know, we always try to, either one of us, just to go to the other, and just, you know, maybe spend a weekend or something. And yeah, I mean, it was tough, I'm not gonna lie, but you know, we managed to, you know, through FaceTime and WhatsApp, and just kind of meeting face to face, and obviously spending all the summers and holidays and winters together. You know, we managed to keep the relationship going, very healthy, and actually very good. I felt that every, you know, they usually say that when you start it's not that bad, but every, you know, year or months, whatever, that go through, it becomes somewhat tougher. But in our case, I think we just, you know, kept like improving our relationship, and you know, we're actually in a very good mental space, both of us, which kind of allowed us to, you know, to you know, get that chance. And now, yeah, we finally moved together, and you know, we're both happy.
What I wanted to ask was, being an accomplished golfer, does she ever give you any tough love? Like, why the fuck did you hit it there?
Yes, too much. Too much. No, she's always very kind. I mean, sometimes she asks the question, but I ask those questions myself, right? Like,
Yeah.
why did you hit it there? And I'm like, well, I was trying to hit it exactly, you know, to the opposite spot where I hit it, but you know, I ended up hitting it there. But you know, through talking, you know, you always get to the bottom of everything. So if she asks, I respond, but she, you know, she's supportive and always understands.
What are her thoughts on, in your words, the complaining side of you on the golf course? What are her thoughts and opinions about that? Has she said anything to you?
She doesn't love it, and my, my my parents don't love it as well. But it's, again, like I did it my entire life, and I somehow I'm getting better every day. Like, it's crazy. Sometimes I see myself, I'm like, yeah, you know, you're improving. So I mean, she doesn't like it, obviously, but she knows I'm trying, and eventually I'm gonna be good at this.
Well, I believe it. Look, you're only 22. You have a long way to go. I mean, there's so many players on any tour. I don't care what tour you're on. It takes years and years for them to mature as a player, mentally and physically, and the way they handle themselves on the golf course. So you got a long way to go, and I think you're doing an amazing job. We love watching you. We love watching your passion. Now, speaking of ASU, you know, I just saw it online that you made you gave back to your college. You
Yeah.
made a very kind donation to ASU.
It was something that I thought and I obviously still think that there's something that we should do as players, right? They take very good care of us with clothing and traveling and, you know, organizing and with scholarships and everything, right? So when in my case, you know, when I turned professional, I thought you know, I owed a big amount or a big part to the program, to the ASU program, just because they kind of taught me and told me what, you know, what to do and what not to do. So it was a special moment just to donate back to the team and so they have, you know, maybe more opportunities or they can do, you know, some funnier stuff or just maybe, you know, get a whatever it is, right? So it was a special day, and it's not going to be the only one, right? I'm in my mind, I want to, you know, I want to keep donating, maybe just a little bit of, you know, a little bit of money every year, just because I want the team to do good, and I really like the coaches and the players, and I really want them to play good.
You're an old soul, David. You're an old soul.
Wait,
I admire you for that.
Speaking of David, say your name as though somebody approached you in Spain, just for everybody to hear. Because even the guy who wrote the article about you, Doug Ferguson, is an incredible journalist. He spelled your last name out as Puig.
Yeah, it's David Puig.
David Puig.
Puig.
Yeah.
Puig.
We're never going to get that right.
No, it's not Puig, it's Pooch.
We
like a
usually
dog,
say
like
Puig.
Puig. Yeah, it's Puig. Yeah.
Pooch.
So Doug got it right.
I don't mind the David though. I'm very Americanized now. So
well, we were for a while thinking, is it Puig?
No,
is it Puig? I don't know, just feel like
they even say that in Spain. So just because it's kind of like my dad grew up in Barcelona, so it's kind of like a last name that, you know, comes from Barcelona. So in some parts of Spain, just because we kind of speak a different, or there's a different dialect in that area of Barcelona, right? So even in Spain they pronounce it bad sometimes. So I'm used to it. I'm hopefully I'm gonna let the world of golf know that it's Puig.
Jerry, I got 2 finishing questions. So
I've asked everything I wanted to, and a lot I didn't.
Okay.
And I've enjoyed every second of it.
All right, awesome. David, I want to ask you, what advice would you give to college golfers who are either entering college or are in the middle of their college life playing golf?
Well, I mean, first of all, like there's rough times, right? So you gotta keep putting everything you've got just to get through those rough times. And at the end of the day, you just got to do everything that you can, right? In my case, I would recommend everybody to, you know, work out, see a physio, you know, have a good quality practice, and just try to compete as much as they can, so they're ready for the next step. Because I mean, professional golf demands you in every aspect of this life, and you got to be healthy, first of all, and you got to perform very well in every area if you wanna succeed. So it's a lot of work and it's a lot of hours, but it's worth it for sure. There's nothing better than you know, going to your office to these courses that we you know are able to play.
And finally, what is your main goal? Where do you see yourself in about 10 years time?
Well, again, like I play golf because I think I can win. That's why I practice, and that's why I put the work. So I don't know what to tell you about any, you know, specific goal, but obviously I want to win majors and I want to win tournaments, and I want to be part of the Olympics, and I want to be part of the Ryder Cup, and I want to win those, right? So in terms of results, I want to win. Like that's the main goal, right? that's what the people remember, and that's what, you know, each one of us remember, the winnings. And you know, in part of the process, I think I want to accomplish those little things that I think I can get better at, and which you know, those things are going to allow me to win.
Amazing.
That's cool. Hey, before she says goodbye, I just want to say you're talented beyond your years. You're well and mature beyond your years, and it's a pleasure chatting with you. Thanks a lot for spending the time with us.
No, yeah, it was a pleasure. It was fun.
Yeah.
Well,
Very
David, you're
cool.
already you're 22 and you've already had 2 professional wins, and your career is just on a rise. And we're so excited to be able to watch you and to be able to watch you soar like an eagle. And we appreciate your time here on Fairway to Heaven. We appreciate you, and we'll see you in Houston, buddy.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you, David Puig.
Puig.
Perfect. Yeah.
We are so going to rock Arlo's world now, saying that we've kind of been saying it slightly wrong all this time. We've been saying Puig, which is really close, but it's actually more like a puppy. Puig.
Yeah, Puig. Yeah.
Puig. Yeah. David Puig.
Yeah, David
Perfect.
Puig.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because now I always have to say it like almost with an accent of some sort, like David Puig.
I know it's kind of strange how those of us English speaking from either be UK or America, how we tend to, especially America, we tend to say Latin names with a Latin accent, but we don't say Asian names with an Asian accent or Muslim names with an Arab accent at all. We do say David Puig, we're not going to say that about somebody else. It's the strangest, it's kind of the weirdest thing, but it's true.
But it's something I love the Spanish language. I mean, it is to me the sexiest language on this planet.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's
more than Italian?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's just so the way that the vowels and the sounds and the way they pronounce the letters and then the flow and
Uno más cerveza, por favor. Yes, that is a very beautiful sound.
It is. It's very sexy. It is. But I think the thing, back to what you were saying, I think the thing about the language is it makes you want to say it in the accent, because it is such a beautiful language. And it's like I don't know, it's definitely one of my, during COVID, I actually tried to learn Spanish.
I did too.
I was pregnant and I had nothing to do, and I was like, I got on this app and I just was learning how to speak Spanish as much as I can, and I didn't go very far, but it is a beautiful language, and hopefully one day I'll speak it. Who knows?
Well, when we sat there with Alberto and Rahm and David Puig, in where was that? Singapore, or was that Australia?
No, Adelaide.
Adelaide.
Yeah.
When we sat there in the lunchroom with him for a long time, I asked Alberto, I go, how long would it take a guy who's a little past middle age to learn Spanish if he has a pretty decent introduction to it already? He said, it's impossible. He said, you can't do it. Unless you actually move there for a year and are forced to speak it every day, you can't learn it. Because I can get by in restaurants and hotels and speak just enough to find my way around. But I've always wanted to learn it. And there's no excuse for not having done it at this point in my life.
Yeah, it is so tough though. I think with languages, you just have to be around it. You have to speak it. You have to practice it. I mean, I grew up, learning Mandarin, and even now I don't speak it that fluently because I just was never around it. After I moved away from home, I just was not around the language, and you lose it. You lose it.
And you're getting much gooder at English too, by the way.
Much gooder. Yeah, no, my English still sucks, but it sucks so bad. It's terrible. I know our producer hates me for it. Not our podcast producer, but our main producer, your best friend Keith. I can just see him like cringing the whole time.
He doesn't hate you. He hates himself for loving you.
No, he hates me.
No, he doesn't hate you.
We are not allowed to say unbelievable.
No, because nothing is unbelievable. Nothing is unbelievable. It's the most overused adjective in all of sports coverage.
And I can't say 7-iron in hand. He's like, where else is it going to be? up your
Well,
ass.
See, I disagree with him there. I disagree with him. So but you say it a different way every time, and he won't even notice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you say it the same way every time, yeah. 7-iron.
No, I love Keith. I love Keith. And I love how passionate he is about the language too.
Yes, it's awesome.
By the way, David is such an old soul. Honestly, if you were just talking to him at a dining table, you would not think that kid is 22 years old.
No, not at all. He's so well advanced beyond his years. But it was so cool to see that side of him that I promise you, none of the people who've ever watched him play golf have ever seen. And that's really cool about this format that we do. The guys drop their guard, and we get to know them in this podcast. And I hear it, and you hear it all the time. It's how much fun it is to watch these, because they're good guys. And if anybody watches this that didn't know who he was or wasn't a fan of his, they're a fan now.
Yeah, no, and he is a lovely guy, even on the road. He always gives us time, and he always says hi, and he's always got a smile on his face when he's practicing, and you can tell he really is having fun, being a professional golfer, and why wouldn't you be, right? You've got Rahm, you've got Sergio, you've got DJ Brooks, all these great golfers that I'm sure he's admired growing up. Now he's competing against, right? Obviously he wants to beat them, but it must be so much fun to just be around it. So anyway, that's that. That's another episode.
Do your finishing
touches.
Another
episode. Yeah, if you stop interrupting me, I will.
Well, just do your finishing touches and pipe the hell down.
That's another episode of Fairway to Heaven. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much again for choosing us to be an annoyance to your ears. We appreciate you. We appreciate your support. As always, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel, Fairway to Heaven, as well as our social channels on Instagram, TikTok,
MySpace,
X,
AOL,
Friendster.
Friendster, Tinder. Are we on Tinder? We're not on Tinder, are we?
We're not on Tinder.
Okay, good.
Tinder is a dating app.
We're on Farmers. What's the farmer's one? Isn't there like a farmer's wife one or something? Yeah. Anyway.
Farmer's wife. Anyway, please do like us, follow us, and hey, if you want to interact with us and have a chat, do leave us comments, do slip into the DMs, and we would love to have a chat with you as well. But in the meantime, Jerry, I will see you next week. Same time, same place. Enjoy Carlsbad. I'm very jealous. I'm about to go to a goat farm.
Oh, lovely.
With my child. Yeah.
Well, say hi to my relatives.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.